give this to Don. Here's for those live.
Oh, yeah, on the first slide.
Questions.
Yes, on the opening slide. The opening slide, that slide. Think about this. Next edition you make, change the word solar to yellow or orange or something that's hot so that it looks like it's generating energy. Solar color.
Okay, Okay, everyone, we're going to start the solar presentation now. So if you want to move up front or stay where you are, that's fine. So welcome to our presentation on the Muff Solar Project. The purpose of my talk today is to explain the cost of our solar energy project and how it will be paid for. We will also discuss the effect of the project on the annual budget. There will be a congregational meeting on December 8th, immediately following the service. We will be brief, and you should come out of this session knowing what you will be voting for on that day. This talk will be available on YouTube, and there will be a repeat of this presentation on December 3rd on Zoom. I'll try to finish in about 15 minutes or maybe less. And I'd like to ask to park questions till the end so I can get through the presentation as soon as possible. But we'll stay as long as there's questions. So next slide. There we go. So the budget for our project is $180,000, and that's a maximum authorization. Hopefully we won't use that much or need that much. $16,000 of those funds will reimburse the Gateways project for preparatory work that was needed to prepare for the solar installation, for instance, conduits. Members of the fellowship have graciously committed gifts and loans in excess of this amount. Please join us in thanking our generous gift givers and lenders. Yay. Okay, the loans will be repaid by a combination of federal and state incentive payments and funds that would otherwise have been needed for electricity. The fellowship will receive the federal tax credit payment and pass it through to the lenders as soon as it is received. MUF bylaws have a provision against members making loans to the fellowship, but the Board of Regents has authorized an exception for this case. Among the reasons for this are, one, the loans are requested by the fellowship, and they were open to any member to participate in. Also, the loans enable the fellowship to purchase the equipment and to benefit from the incentive payments and electricity savings. And finally, the interest rate of 3.2% is below, quite a bit below that for a commercial loan, and was selected to maintain the value of the money for most people. A loan agreement has been drawn up and will be shared with the lenders shortly. If all goes well, we expect the construction phase to begin in Q1 of 2025 and for electricity generation to begin in Q2. We have selected a contractor and will sign a contract shortly following a vote of support by the congregation. The following slide will show the budgetary impact of the project. It represents a conservative estimate of how much we will have to spend and how much electricity we will be able to produce. There may be some changes during the engineering phase. So next slide. There we go. This shows the budgetary impact for typical project years during 3 phases. So we have the loan payback, the incentives, and then the final years. So it's a conservative view, and the actual situations is expected to be more favorable than this one. During the first period, that's the loan payback, we will be paying back the lenders over a term of 5 years, plus or minus. During that time, we will be receiving around $5,000 per year from the New Jersey incentive program, and that's based on how many kilowatt hours we produce. So we get money for each one. And we will be making loan payments of around $8,000. There will potentially be some operating costs, and there will be the need to purchase electricity to make up for small yearly drop off in panel output, because they depreciate a little bit, 0.5% over every year over their lifetime. The net of these costs and credits can be compared with around $7,600 that we would have to pay if we didn't do this project and instead had to purchase the power from JECP&L. This first period is the most critical period cost-wise, since we're paying off the lenders. But we still are saving $3,400 and probably more versus the no solar case, or my wife says the do-nothing case. During the second period of 10 years, the loans will have been paid, but the New Jersey incentives will still be received. They are just slightly reduced each year due to the small drop-off in the panel output. The other costs remain similar with only inflation adjustments. The savings from the solar program during this period will be around $12,000 per year. After the New Jersey incentives expire in the third phase, yearly electricity savings will continue at around $8,100 per year. Overall, if you add all this up, the value of doing the project in current dollars is about $150,000, doing it versus not doing it. After the 25 years are up, the panels will still be producing, although eventually we'll have to look at replacing in whole or in part. Also, it's important to know there's not enough space on the roof to place enough panels to meet the entire demand of our new campus, if you will. But the planned electricity budget for 2025-2026 is enough to pay for the extra power and more than support this project during the loan payback period. One wild card is Donald Trump, who has indicated, that's the least I could say, right? Who has indicated his intention to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the basis for the federal incentive payment. Experts have said that repeal of this measure will be unlikely. We are nonetheless have looked into the consequence of such a loss of those funds. It's 30% of the funds, maybe 40 if we're lucky. And we determined that we could still manage to pay these loans off, although we'd have to extend the payback period maybe 4 or 5 years. But we can still do it. So the next slide is the actual resolution we'll be voting on. So, and I think maybe I'll just read it. Is that all right? So this is going to be December 8th. We'll be asked to approve the following resolution. It's a draft at this point, so it's possible that some things could change, but probably not too much. The project consists, to approve the budget set forth as Exhibit A for the project, and Exhibit A would be more or less the last slide, the previous slide, for the project, summarized as follows. The project consists of the installation of solar panels on the roof of the Gateway Center and their connection to the Fellowship's electric panels in accordance with the direction of professionals. Expenses for the project are to be paid with a combination of direct gifts and loans from members. Lenders will have agreed to be repaid over a period of 5 to 10 years through federal and state incentives received by the Fellowship and paid over to such lenders, and from direct payments from the Fellowship from the operating budget, consisting of amounts that would otherwise have been required to be paid by the Fellowship for electricity, but which are no longer required to be expended due to the implementation of the project. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the membership of the Fellowship approves this resolution. So that's more or less the presentation. I did want to say that if anyone cannot be present in person, we have proxy forms that you can take home and fill out. You can drop them off with any member that's going to be present, and they can vote on your behalf. Or you could drop them off with Katie by email, PDF them and send an email. And if somebody has trouble finding a form, give me a call or Don a call, and we'll try and get one to you. So thanks for your attention, and if there's any questions, I'd be glad to take them. Gabor. Yep. Okay. Yeah, wait for the mic. Don will bring. I'm David Horst. Sure.
When is the vote? I didn't get that. When is the vote?
The vote is December 8th.
Okay, great.
Right immediately after the service.
Okay, good. So I actually had a question. So your projection, was there some inflation built in, or
Yeah.
how much inflation is built in?
2% on electricity.
What happens if it's more than that? Does it make it less positive or more positive?
It should make it better because
Better.
it's the money we have to pay is fixed. So if it'll be positive in the sense that the savings.
Yeah, more savings if there's more inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
So
Okay.
what you're offsetting those costs.
Good, thanks. Anybody else?
Dave, would it give you any comfort to maybe have the documentation with the contractor signed this year before the new administration? I mean, I wonder if that gives us.
Well, we hope to.
Oh, good.
As soon as assuming it passes, we would almost immediately probably start signing the contract. We more or less have it agreed on what we would provide, and we had 2 good bids, and we picked a contractor now.
So Dave, I have a question. This is my husband.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to ask a hard question, and then I have some levity with you. The project, you have all the lending and all the gifts already lined up, or are you still looking for more?
All lined up.
All lined up. So here's
Thanks to a lot of very generous members.
So last night, you were talking in your sleep, David. Uh-oh. And he said, I don't have a checkbook, but would you take my credit card? And I think he was thinking about the solar project. Anyway, that was supposed to be a little levity.
So Dave, I have 2 questions for you. This first question is on this slide, and the next question is on the previous slide. Okay, on the part of the slide where it says from direct payments from the fellowship from the operating budget consisting of amounts that would otherwise have been paid to the fellowship, by the fellowship for electricity. So let's say that 3 or 4 years out, there is somebody comes up with a great idea for an expensive project at the fellowship, and they decide to use money from the fellowship to fund that project. That might have been money that was directed back to payment of loans. Is this money that's referred to here from direct payments of the fellowship from the operating budget consisting of amounts that otherwise have been paid going to be specifically sequestered and kept aside so that it can't be touched for any purpose other than paying the lenders?
Well, let me answer. I'll try and answer it. You tell me if I answered it. But what we're planning to do, we pay monthly electric bills. So the idea, we'll kind of track what we can project what we're going to need to have at the end of the year. We'll pay the loans once a year. That's the way we're going to do it. So basically, Katie would be putting in, just like for your electric bill, you have to pay every month. We'll just pick a number every month to put in an account that we'll have for the solar. And so we'll just build up that until we need to pay. And we'll just kind of, we'll be able to project how much we need at the end of the year. So we're not, it's just our own discipline to make sure we have the money. And it's not like we got to get it at the last minute. No, we'll do it every month.
Is the solar project planning to have a representative that will meet on a regular basis with the finance committee to monitor the input of the solar project or its effect on the overall budget and how the budget is handled?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have met with I see Tom Perch over here smiling, with the finance committee, and go.
Well, we're planning to have an accounting line. So as you probably know, Don, the way the finance committee meetings work is that we review all accounts, expenses during the course of each month. And so we will be able to identify what has been allocated to that liability each month. So Dave has met with us previously, but we should have a pretty good feel for it, independent of, we could create that connection certainly, and I'm sure we will on an ongoing basis. But it's not that urgent either.
I've been working with Katie a little bit too on this to talk about how we could actually implement the details of it.
And then my last question is on the previous slide. The previous slide, underneath the spreadsheet, it says value of the project in current dollars. Does that mean the 150,000 is what we anticipate is the cost of the project, or the 150 is what we expect to get back from the project over time?
So it's more or less, if you take these 10 years and you add up these numbers, and then you discount them back to present dollars, you get 150,000.
Okay. So it's future anticipated benefit.
It's like it's the value of doing the project versus not doing the project in dollars. If you decided not to do it, you'd have to commit in present dollars $150,000 more for those 25 years than if you didn't do the project, or the other way around.
Based on the last row, which is the savings with solar, that's how that 150 came up. Okay.
Could be, yeah.
Okay, good.
Any more? Okay.
No.
Oh,
I just wanted a clarification. It's between the two, but the payment to lenders, that's the money coming out of the operating budget?
the sum of all those, the net sum. So we have money coming in, we have money going out, and if you add all those together, those incentives, payments, operating costs, and degradation, you add those together, then the remainder has to be provided from the budget. So there is some remainder that would be.
So
would
the
be
remainder isn't shown on this slide? What's coming
It's
from the
not shown on
budget
the
isn't
slide.
directly shown on this slide?
Not directly, you have to, I didn't add them on the slide, that's true. Yep.
Is there any thought of extending the solar panels to the main building?
It's a bit problematic because the roof it was kind of patched up recently, but it wouldn't make a lot of sense to put panels on top of an old roof. So if we ever redid the roof, we could consider it, but then we also have to make sure it could, and this is doubtful on that roof, that it could support the weight of the panels as well. But hopefully at some point we could consider putting more panels somewhere else. And if you look at this is a 25-year project. If you project the rate of improvement in efficiency of solar panels over 25 years, we might get double, more or less double the amount of electricity from the same number of panels with new panels. So it's possibility that we could just do it right on this roof with, in 20 years or whatever, when panels are more efficient.
What is the generation capacity of the planned solar panels?
I think it was like 50-some thousand kilowatt hours per year, I think. But I'm not sure, something like that. I've been looking at too many options. We have, there's like 112 panels that we think we could fit on of 415 watts each. Is that it? Okay, thanks a lot for joining. Appreciate it. Appreciate your attention. You're welcome. It's been fun.